am starting to have a little bit of some hoarseness. There's a lot of stuff going around, so forgive me for using a cough drop in order to share today's episode. Actually, we'll just do without that. Anyhow, welcome to this special episode with Life Pro. I've been with Life Pro as their leader of education, getting you ideas on how to use our many Life Pro products. I've been with the company for several years now. In fact, I started with the company because of my own adversity and finding the company just on chance because I was having a lot of pain and somebody had suggested, a physician had suggested to try a vibration platform. I looked into the company and happened to be already a friend of Joel's, who is the founder of our company, and used the machine at home, one of the machines behind me at home for 10 to 30 minutes a day for 2 weeks. And after a year of pain, surgery, physical therapy, I was pain-free by just using this machine. So I call it the miracle machine or the magic machine, and contacted Life Pro and Joel back and said, okay, tell me more. And so didn't realize that there were so many wonderful benefits behind how our machines work or how the vibration platforms or plates work. Some people call it vibing. Some people call it whole body vibration. Some people call them vibration platforms. Some people call them vibration plates. You can call it whatever you want to. I still like to call it the miracle machine and the magic maker because it truly changed my life. And I'm hoping today that with the information I'm sharing with you today about the basics and the different benefits and how to apply the science and the technology to your life to live a higher quality of life with less pain, or whatever it is that you're going through. So I'm going to go through a lot of the back end of things with why our body responds to the vibration the way it does, the multiple benefits that goes into it, which is very specific to each one of you who are watching this episode, how you can apply the different preset programs or the different parameters or settings for each machine, regardless of what machine you have. It does not have to be a Life Pro machine. It can be another brand, but I will tell you, there are different types of vibration that you can access through these different platforms. And we at Life Pro do not offer linear type of vibration any longer, which is what our medical grade or commercial grade platforms, vibration platforms are known for. It's a very uncomfortable application for a lot of people because you feel it between the ears because the vibration is running up and down, and the body doesn't move. So you don't feel like you're getting anything out of it. So we tried those years ago. It's very popular with animals, very popular with those with neuropathy, and popular for human performance, for gaining improvements in vertical. But I can tell you as a strength and speed agility coach, as well as a sports medicine professional, that there are faster ways to get more vertical than standing on a platform that doesn't move. So we at Life Pro only offer the oscillating, which is more of a teeter-totter effect. So if you have a waver, a hover, well, all of our platforms have the teeter-totter or the oscillating effect. If you have one of our RumbleX models, which is what I've got behind me, actually that's the Waver Mini. I've got them over here on this side of the room. Those all feature 3 motors. And so you're getting lateral vibration, oscillating vibration, and pulsation, which is just a vibration that tickles through the bottom of the surface, but it doesn't actually cause the unit to move to where you have to balance. Yes, you have to balance, but it's a lot easier, put it that way. So what I want to make sure of, all the units that we have in our Life Pro whole body vibration lineup, all of them have oscillating motors in them. So everything that I'm sharing with you today is ultimately effective for everybody that has one of those platforms. If you have another higher level platform, you're still going to gain the benefits, but you might have the linear vibration. So if your body does not move when you're on it, a lot of linear vibration platforms don't cause the muscles to actually move. It's vibrating within, but the vibration is running up and down directly through the current. So you're actually feeling it more in the head and neck, which is really uncomfortable. So if you have linear vibration, it still works, but the oscillation, pulsation, and lateral vibration are what we really thrive with here at Life Pro. And the 35,000 plus consumers that have shared this feedback in our VIP Facebook group. If you're not a part of that, I highly encourage you to join that group, because there is a plethora of information, a profound amount of before and after results that consumers and individual users are sharing based on their own experience. And there are no two human bodies that are built the same. So you don't have to worry about so much following the parameters. If the doctor has said you need to make sure you're getting 30 hertz for a setting in order to experience benefits for this, if you just get on the machine and go, you're going to get something out of it. And so that's what I want to share with you today, because as I'm reading a lot of comments, as Debbie and Rosanna and I are reading a lot of comments in the VIP group, there is so much confusion with our new consumers who have received it for a gift for the Christmas season or for holiday season. You're on a new wellness journey at the start of the year and wanting to find the most effective way, comfortable way to the end result. And so I just want to make sure that we are giving you the information that you need in order to make the right decisions as it works for you. Yes, the clinical data does support a lot of these results, but we have no way of knowing how that clinical data was obtained, how the experiments were controlled, the health of the individuals that were in the studies. There's so many different parameters that go into that. That doesn't matter. Yes. Do we have to stick with the rules? No. So I'm just going to tell you on my own journey and seeing it in here every day in my facility. We use it on every client in my facility. I use it as an assessment tool as a medical provider for pain management. That's my specialty niche in the sports medicine arena, certified licensed medical professional. I work with a lot of people who are in pain, and whether it be an athlete, whether it be a senior citizen, whether it be a mom who is just exhausted, whether it be somebody who's 10 or 12 and has acid reflux or anxiety. There are so many different applications to these machines that make how we feel as individuals, mind, body, and spirit, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. There are so many benefits that I can't even begin to tell you all of that in just an hour's time. But I'm going to give you my top favorites that I see all the time, and I'm going to show you through some graphic details to bring like the words to visualization for you so that you can make the right decision for yourself. Okay. And if you have questions that we can answer along the way, if I don't answer them in this series, let me know or let us know in the VIP group, because that's how we figure out how to create these videos for you. You are the ones who are sharing what your needs are, and we are the experts behind the brand and in the industry. So LifePro is like #1 in multiple categories for whole body vibration in the world. And they have sought us out as individuals to help you for free so that you can get the best out of your life, because we're truly a company of giving, not of just making money. So I want to say thank you in advance for being here today, or wherever it is, at what point in your journey you're listening to this episode. But today is about back to the basics, the top benefits of whole body vibration application, and why it matters to each one of you, and how to achieve those results with no matter what machine you have at home. I'm not going to tell you if you have a waiver that you need to push the P4 or P5 button. It gets a little confusing for some of you who are using different machines. We have had over 20 different 20 different whole body vibration platforms that have been in production since I started with the brand several years ago, and still coming out with new models all the time. So it doesn't matter which model you have. I will share kind of how to achieve some of these results as I'm sharing the benefits, and you can play around with your machine at home. But what most matters to us is that you guys who are using the machines at home, that you feel better, that you feel good. It doesn't matter how you get there. It just matters that you feel good. Okay. And so how that journey is for each one of us, emotionally and physically, is very different. So we all have different history. We all have different setbacks, but I can tell you everything that I have learned in my career has been experienced. How I've learned it has been experienced by some of my worst situations in my life, some of my greatest moments of adversity. So if you're in a rough spot right now, you're going to get better. It's just a matter of timing, but don't give up on yourself. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here to help you with. That's why LifePro was born, was to be able to help people from the convenience of home with great experts. And my specialty is pain management with not taking medication. So We're going to start with the benefits of weight loss, okay, fat loss. If you go back and you watch some of my original videos from 2019 or 2020, you're going to see what I used to look like back then. And this is a picture of me back then, okay? I look totally different today. So I'm over 200 pounds in this picture. And then this was a year after that photo was taken. I'm still 200 pounds in this picture. And if you go back and start watching my journey on social media during the pandemic, when I was doing these videos with the vibration platforms multiple times every day for months, you can watch the whole transformation. I don't diet. I don't take medication specifically for weight loss. I don't exercise outside of what I've done on social media because I truly wanted it to be a testimonial of how different things can make a difference. So I have actually learned how to lose weight by doing less. The more inflammatory hormones we have in our body, the more cortisol, the more norepinephrine, adrenaline, stress hormones. So we're in a fight or flight all the time with our sympathetic nervous system. If you have high levels of anxiety, if you're suffering depression, high cholesterol, we've got all these different challenges that happen when our inflammatory hormones are high. It is impossible for your body to lose fat because fat is the only fuel when we are trying to survive. What our body actually does is it uses the muscle and it breaks down muscle in the form of glucose in order to get more energy to keep going. So all the blood flow in our body shunts out to our extremities, our arms, and our legs, our major muscle groups, and our body actually feasts on muscle tissue in order to have the energy to keep going. So if you are exercising excessively, especially doing cardiovascular exercise, and if you are going through emotionally stressful times in your life and you are hyperstimulated with a lot of go, 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 and you're in very stressful environments, it is near impossible to lose fat because your body uses it to survive. So it will not release it, even if calories in is less than calories out. I have worked that for several years. I was actually taking a diet pill. I've taken diet pills my whole life as an adult, different diet pills. Okay. I was taking a diet pill on this and gained weight, if that tells you anything. And I was trying to exercise. I used to be an exercise addict, doing 12 hours of exercise a week. And the only exercise I get, honestly, is talking to all of you and doing this live because I want it to be a living testimonial that you can do it. Okay. So the higher the inflammatory hormones, the more stressed out you feel, the more cluttered your head is, the less like you're going to lose fat. So if you're losing weight and if it's happening really fast, you're losing muscle. So be careful doing that because when that happens, there is high levels of stress. Bones are going to start becoming more brittle because of inflammatory hormones. You're going to attempt to go back into the realm of wanting to eat what you like to eat instead of what you're starving yourself to eating, and you're going to blow up again because you're not making a lifestyle change. I actually found the platform with LifePro because of some adversity after having a total hysterectomy, and my body just shut down, but still inflammatory hormones. So when we have a lot of edema in our body, stress hormones are high, it suppresses the release of our happy hormones. So our serotonin, our natural painkillers, our dopamine and our oxytocin hormones, which make us feel loved and make us feel great. Like we want more of it, right? When we are going through moments of challenges, injury, obesity, disease, just things, if you are going through moments of disease or medical conditions that are setting you back, it means that your tissues are not at ease. So you're not going to be able to lose fat when you are in those types of situations. The body holds on to it because it can survive forever on fat. Okay. Fat and water. Okay. So let's talk about connective tissue and why it matters. So our muscles are made up of a lot of these micro strands of what kind of looks like spaghetti. Okay. So this is one big muscle split into lots of little muscle fibers. And then all of that attaches to a bone with a tendon. Okay. Tendons attach bone and muscle together. Ligaments attach bones to bones. Okay. Within these muscle fibers are little sensors that provide feedback through electrical currents and cellular energy and vibrations to our brain. So if we don't excite these muscles, then they shrink and they don't work, which then makes us very unstable. So what is the first thing that happens when you get on a vibration platform? Well, doesn't matter if it is 10 hertz or if it's 30 hertz or if it's 80 hertz. If we're talking about hertz, that's how many times the muscle fiber twitches per second when you're on it. Okay. It's a measurement of how many times the muscle actually spasms or twitches in order for you to move and generate activation per second. Okay. So when somebody's telling you that you need to have the machine turned up to 30 hertz, again, there's a lot of calculations and a lot of math and algorithms that go into that. Just remember 30 hertz is 30 times per second that your muscles are actively engaging firing. Can't even comprehend it, right? But each one of these muscles has an electrical energy that transfers back and forth on the brain. And muscles have a start and an end. They have an origin and insertion, but they're connected in an intercellular matrix through what we call fascia. Okay, fascia, there is no start or end. It is no end, no beginning. It controls the entire human body. Our electrical highways are housed within it. Our blood vessels are housed within it. And it kind of governs the whole body. And it happens to be our number one sensory system, number one sensory organ and system in the human body. But the doctors have ignored it for decades until recently. The vibration platform pampers your fascia. So if you are making your fascia happy, you feel good because that's what allows everything to flow. And everything in our body is connected with this web of collagen, elastin. We have a ground substance, which kind of reminds you of like Jello and water kind of put together. And as we age and as we sit, lack of movement, disease setting in, medical conditions taking over, this Jello-like matrix goes from being really spongy to very brittle, glued together and not moving so much, which is what causes your pain, what causes your disease, which causes you to feel like crap. So the fascia is what makes things happen. And the fascia loves the vibration platform. Okay. Now, one of the worst things that can happen is when we actually injure the fascia, when we actually cut through it. So if you've had a surgery, if you've had an injury where you open the skin, then you have violated that special tissue and there's no end and there's no beginning and it's constantly changing along all these different lines and it's constantly reshaping and regenerating. So that's why collagen has become such a big buzzword in the medical health fitness world, collagen supplements, because it is part of the structural network that allows our fascia to regenerate, which allows our body to move and thrive. When you go to cut through the fascia, let's assume that fascia is like fishnet pantyhose dipped in Jello, we get a little kink. And when we get a little kink, we have to find a way to fix it. It's kind of scars over. And when it scars over, it starts to pull from all these other areas. That creates a compensational movement. That creates a lot of tension in areas that it shouldn't be tense. That creates tightness in which muscles can't fire and twitch the way that they're supposed to. What does the vibration platform do? It creates a gentle earthquake effect, a perfect storm to breaking up these glued areas so that your body can communicate and fluctuate energy and fluid and can regenerate itself. Okay, those electrical highways, the blood vessels, the lymphatic system, the fat is attached to it, your skin is attached to it, the muscle is attached to it, and all attaches to the bone. So if we have a surgery, or if we have a cut, or if we have an injury, it starts to pull from everywhere. Okay, so we have to find a way to restore that. And most people don't realize that that is a problem. When we have an injury, we have our tissue that is nice and smooth like silk, right? And then when we have, if it gets severed, then the laws of how our body regenerates scar tissue, it kind of lays new material, new tissue, new cells in a very random blob, okay? And if we don't go in and reshape that blob and mold it to do what we need it to do, then it just kind of does what it wants and it's just kind of there. But it causes us a lot of problems. The vibration platform helps to remodel that. whether you realize you have that as a problem or not. And the older we get, the more that fascia connective tissue starts to change. The more that we sit, it starts to change. So those who are healthy and moving frequently in a variety of different patterns, their fascia connective tissue looks like a spring web of like fishnet. Like it's really like springy. It can bounce and boink, and it can receive energy, and it can transfer it. Okay. It's like a catapult. When we sit long periods of time, or when we have issues in which set us back to where we have to have downtime, or the older that we get, that spring ability turns more into what I call tattered up yarn and just a pile of knots. So as you go through and feel, especially parts of your leg or part of your calves, if you feel lots of lumpiness, this is what it is. And if you don't feel it lumpy and it feels nice and smooth and you feel great, this is kind of what it resembles. The more active in making contact with the ground or vibrational energy, which is the vibration platform, the more of that type of exercise or movement that you do, the more spring ability that tissue becomes, which is able to transfer energy up to other areas of your body, which means the body can thrive. All right. So again, I know I'm getting real detail oriented here, but the more that you understand some of this, the more it makes sense of what you feel. It's not an illusion. You truly are feeling something special. Every single tissue that has contractile ability in the human body has a blanket or a web of fascia surrounding it. The only two connective tissues in the body that don't have it, because they're not contractile, is bone and blood. But all of this stuff still connects to bones, and blood runs freely through it. So it matters, okay? We have several different types of that tissue, okay? We have different types of the fascia layers that connect our skin to our fascia, to our underlying layers, to another deeper layer of fascia. Fat and muscle is all inclusive in there. And our electrical pathways from the brain to those areas happen to flow in those areas, as well as, our veins, our nerves, our meridian electrical highways, anything that you put in your body, drugs, food, beverage, lotions and creams, substance, it all free flows through there too. And if you have a sponge, imagine that this sponge is very similar to that connective tissue, okay? So here is your fascia, this is your skin, and this is connecting. The skin is being connected to the fascia, being connected to a deeper level of fat, another layer of fascia, a muscle, more to the bone. This is kind of what we're talking about here, okay? So what does the vibration do? It causes, what does an earthquake effect do? It causes vibrational energy to shake something, right? So when you're on the machine, you feel like you're shaking, right? But you don't have to do the work. It's like you just stand there or sit there, whatever it is that you're doing. But whatever you have put in your system, everything has a molecular cellular structure to it, okay? It gets stuck in these little areas in between, okay? So this is what healthy looks like. This is what not so healthy looks like. This is what not really good feels or looks like. So if you have the inability to move, you are morbidly obese or carrying a lot of extra weight, you've been stagnant, not moving for a long time, you've been put through chemotherapy, radiation, different types of these treatments because you've been suffering from some kind of a setback with a medical problem. This is kind of what you're dealing with, even though it might not look like that. We have the ability to restore back to this using the vibration, okay? When we break free through that vibrational energy, it's like we're shaking things. We're breaking things loose, which means the stuff gets to leave those areas. Imagine filling this up with water, wringing it out, and re-rinsing it with water. You're flushing that stuff out. That's what causes the vibration to happen. The vibration causes this to create enough spasming that it pushes and squeezes like a pump all the gunk out in our tissues, not just our muscle, not just within our fat, not within our skin, Everything is shaking. Okay. Fascia is very excitatory. It is a neurosensory organ, so it has nerve endings to it. It communicates emotional energy. So if you're depressed, it communicates that. It stays hidden in this area until you shake it free. And that vibrational energy is what transfers it elsewhere. So you can either eliminate it or you can convert it into something else. So that's why everybody has a very different experience. But again, this might be part of your body, whereas other areas of your body might look like this. If you are somebody who has had a total knee replacement, your body looks like this, but your arm might look like this, or your shoulder might look like this. It is all different representation throughout the body. And I have learned over time, watching so many people on the vibration platform, thousands and thousands of people walking through this building, I've been able to observe, understanding what is happening, and I can know exactly where their pain is coming from by watching how their body represents with vibration. So it's really powerful if you know the secrets that release the pain and release the trauma and the adhesions that keep the body from regenerating and thriving. You can go in and kind of biohack and move and rearrange that stuff because people can't do it on their own. You don't have the information to do it. But this is a good visualization so you can make sense of what I'm trying to tell you so that you can take that information and run with it, okay? Every single contractile fiber, this is just one muscle fiber, and you can see that this white film, that is the fascia underneath of a microscope. Every single strand has another layer of that connecting it to the next and the next and the next. So this is ever webbed, woven in between every single split fiber that can move in the body, which matters because you have more control than you realize. The doctors just don't want to tell you that. The ones that don't understand it, stick with the pharmaceuticals, stick with the procedures, stick with the protocol because that's where the money is made. Okay. There is no money made in selling these machines in the medical world. That's where you guys get to benefit. So make sense? When we look at this is an individual who is deceased, you can see how thick that is. Okay. Surgeons cut through it for years and didn't realize what they were cutting through because when the body is hydrated before it is embalmed, when there is a heartbeat happening and when our body is hydrated, this represents more of a jello matrix, like a sponge truly dipped in jello, no end and beginning, and 12 different lines of it moving us in all these different directions and communicating energy transfer. So I don't know about you, but if there is a earthquake that can break some of this free, I'm all in favor of that. That's what the machine does. Multiple layers, skin, fascia, another layer, fascia, muscle, and then the muscle has to attach the bone via tendon, which has its own type of fascia. So lots and lots of stuff in our amazing magical bodies that bring all of this together into talking about the benefits. Now that you understand kind of how the body is put together, without getting too in depth, right? Because I'm trying to make this to where anybody can understand this. You don't have to have any medical background. You don't have to understand anatomy. You just have to know that you have this ever-changing ability to reshape, remold, regenerate as long as you can stay free and clear of being glued. And it is stress. There are 6 things, I like to say 6 things that cause this tissue a lot of problems, okay? Number 1 is substance, drug therapy, anything that you put in your body that is not part of the human body, chemical, anything that has a molecular structure that is not already within the body, that can cause more problems for this. It is stored inside of these fibers. And if you're not moving on a routine basis in a variety of different ways, it gets stuck there. And when it gets stuck there, it stays there until it's released, sometimes days, weeks, months, years, decades, if ever. And what it comes into our body in the form of, our brain registers that. And when it goes to being entrapped in this system and we release it, whether it is motor activation through exercise whether it is through massage, whether vibration, whether, somebody else is working on you or scraping, cupping, however that is released, because it is sat there for so long, it tends to change its molecular structure because this is constantly changing. When you release it, the brain recognizes it as something totally different than what it was going in. And so when that happens, the brain can register that as an invader. It can recognize it as a threat. And so it stimulates a histamine response, which can cause itching, nausea, redness, exhaustion. There's a lot of ways that our body represents that. And that is good because it means we're getting that stuff out. Anything that has not already been introduced into the human body is causing the body a problem in its optimal environment to fix itself. Our body has the power to fix itself if we would just get out of the way. But because of how we emotionally process information, we physically engage in different things, we socially love eating and drinking. We are told by our doctors to take medicine. I still take medicine on a regular basis. I'm not going to stop taking medicine just because it causes problems with this, but you just have to know how to give your body the environment to fix itself the best it can. That's what the vibration platforms do. It is truly a perfect storm. So there are 6 things that I like to say that cause problems for that tissue. Again, number 1 problem is entering stuff into the system, into the human body that is not a naturally part of the human system. Some of that stuff, as clean as you can make it, the better. The more inflammatory those things are, medication has the power to fix us, but there are a lot of things that go into making medicine that can cause side effects or can be an invader to our system depending on how our brain registers it, okay? So medicine is good, can also be bad, okay? I'm not telling you to stop taking medicine, I'm just telling you to be aware of it. So drugs, surgery. As soon as you cut and change how this information, how this energy transfers, as soon as you cut through it, it starts to patch itself in a way that we no longer have control until we can kind of manipulate it. And there are ways to manipulate it, but as soon as you cut it, it's coming back in this big blob, which means glue. It glues and it attaches and spreads. So then you have lots of bugs in the web, if you will. When we have scar tissue or we have areas that are more glued together, it pulls from other areas. So that's problem number 2. Problem number 3 is stress, emotional stress, mental, spiritual, physical stress. More stress, more inflammation. More inflammation, body can't fix itself because it's constantly trying to keep up. The more inflammatory our body is, the more the sympathetic nervous system is overregulating, which means the parasympathetic system cannot kick in and engage. The sympathetic nervous system is responsible for keeping us going in a state of survival mode. It's what keeps our brain alert. It's what keeps our blood flowing at a heightened rate. But it can only do that for so long before the inflammatory hormones become so great that it becomes toxic, that our body no longer can repair itself. It just becomes swollen, okay? And there's ways that our body represents that, and a lot of that is autoimmune disease. So if you have a form of autoimmune disease, more often than not, it's because inflammatory hormones are too high and you are not resting enough, okay? You're not getting that parasympathetic engagement. The parasympathetic hormones are responsible for rest, recovery, restoration, and digestion. So if you have got gut issues, there's something going on in your body that means you have too much of a hormonal response or too much inflammatory things happening. You're moving too much, you're doing too much, you're stressing too much, not recovering enough, not filling up your own cup of energy, okay? Giving too much away before you fill it up. So doing too much of that causes us to not be able to recover, which causes our body to glue itself. The more we are in survivor mode, the more the body reinforces some of these connective tissue lines. It continually regenerates more and more and more and more tissue to help us to stay alive, but it causes too much of a good thing, okay? So too much of a good thing is not always good. And so that's where the earthquake effect comes in. That's where the vibration can kind of shake that up. And the other thing that we do know from true clinical evidence The studies can prove this over and over again, that vibration lowers cortisol and inflammatory hormones. It lowers that threshold so that our serotonin, our painkillers, our dopamine, and our oxytocin levels can go up, which is what we have to have in order to heal, okay? So just standing on it, just putting your feet on it, sitting on it, whatever it is you do on it. Doesn't matter how slow, how fast you're going, just getting on the machine for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, if you choose to be an hour a day, whatever works for you. By doing that, it allows your body to restore, suppress, and reduce inflammatory hormones and cortisol, push out the junk in the system, and restore and repair. That has to happen in order for you to get better, no matter what kind of therapy you're doing. Okay, so we've talked about drugs, surgery, stress, too much movement in the same direction all the time. Okay, what does that mean? If we are in this position all the time, our body is going to be loosey-goosey here, and it's going to start gluing here, okay? When we stay in the position all the same time, our body gets used to that, and it gets comfortable there. So it starts to attach and starts to, that connective tissue, fascia starts to reshape. It's always reshaping itself, always. And so it starts to create more collagen, more glue, not going somewhere. So you have to remember, when you are in those positions, it becomes normal to you. You don't even realize that you're doing it, right? And so when we do that, it is really hard to open up, okay? So doing too much in the same position all the time, when we sleep at night and we are laying on our side, we sleep in this position. When we drive, we're in this position. When we type or we're on our devices, we're studying or we're reading, we're in the same position. We got to figure out how to open up. A lot of talking, not enough water. Hydration, right? So, too much movement in the same direction, not enough movement at all. So, sitting, not metabolizing, not moving at all causes the same problem as moving too much and doing too much of the same thing all the time. And so, our body reinforces some of these highways in order to protect us. So I see this in a lot of kids who are 10, 12 years old. I'm seeing degenerative disc disease in kids who are 12 and 13, who are gymnasts, baseball players, athletes who are training, 10 to 20 hours a week and stressed out to making people happy because they just want to be loved. Those people are creating problems in their body because the body goes to protect itself and it starts to glue. And we're seeing injuries in kids that we see in professional athletes because they're not mature enough for their bodies to handle it, mentally or physically or emotionally. Constantly restructuring, okay? Anywhere that you see white is an area that the body transfers energy like a bridge. It is not meant to be stretched. It is meant to protect. So if you have back pain down here, we can take tension off of that, but we don't want to stretch it. Because if we're trying to stretch down here, we are causing instability in an area that actually saves our life. Same thing here in the cervical spine. Cervical spine and thoracic spine is meant to give us the ability to breathe, speak, heart beating, respiration. Like those are the primary things that keep us alive. And then areas that are really thick and white, IT band, is actually an area of bridge in which energy transfers through to the red fibers for them to twitch, to transfer it and contract for action, okay? So areas that are white, so the low back here, where it's white, it takes about 3,000 pounds of force to actually stretch that out because those fibers are woven so thick that it's like bands of steel. So do they twitch? Yes. So getting on the vibration platform will make you feel like you have actually stretched this out, but we haven't stretched it. We have just transferred the tension from that one to somewhere else where it actually can handle it. And it's also causing these red fibers to start working because they're sometimes a little too lazy, okay? So that's something to remember. Anything that you see that is white is an area that is not meant to be stretched. It can transfer energy and we can shift those tensile forces to other areas And we do that by vibration and using the red fibers that are oxygenated and blood rich, okay? Those are the areas that are more pliable. Inside our body, our deep core, okay, we have our diaphragm, we have our pelvic floor. If you do not have these muscles that are firing, most of you don't, guarantee it. Most of you don't. Most of you are overusing some of this because you're sitting too much, and the areas that matter are not firing enough. This was my problem when I met Life Pro. And so getting on the machine stimulates up to 90% of these muscle fibers to just magically start working. It's a hyperstimulus. The brain doesn't even tell it to happen. It is happening because the vibration is transferring that powerful energy that our body just happens to love. And when our body starts to receive that energy, it starts to vibrate, causing a twitching sensation of up to 50 times a second. If you're on a machine at 50 hertz, that's up to 50 times a second, okay, without you having to provide the command. You don't have to do it. You just have to stand there, sit there, relax, enjoy. Things are happening, okay? So if these muscles are not working, you pee a lot, you can't crap, you can't have intimacy, there's no sexual engagement, you have a lot of gut problems if these muscles are not working. If these muscles right here are not working, your toes do not work very well. You have foot pain. The way to engage from here down to your foot is through this area right here. The nerve that fires your toes and your feet actually originate right here. How cool is that? So if this is not working, things are not happening down in the feet or in your legs. So if you have neuropathy, the machine is going to help you because it's starting to getting this stuff to working. All of this fuses in with our respiration. So if you have respiratory challenges or if you are having back pain, that all happens from sitting too much or from overusing this primary muscle right here, which is known as the psoas muscle. It fuses in with the diaphragm, which happens to control breathing, okay? It is all interwoven. And your organs sit inside of here too. This is the cavity, the power zone in which your organs actually sit. Ladies, your uterus is here. Gentlemen, your prostate is here. Your bladder is here. Your colon is here. If you're stuck and you get on that platform, you're going to have a bowel movement sometime soon. It might not be within the hour, but it might be within the day. So if I'm constipated because I have scar tissue here from a hysterectomy, I'm getting on that machine instead of taking a pill. It is going to make me poop. It'll make you poop too. And if you're leaking too much and if you don't have control of continence, if you have an incontinence problem, this is not working to stabilize your bladder. So getting on that machine will turn that engine on so that you now have control over your bladder, okay? It all happens with vibration. So when we sit a lot, okay? When we sit a lot, we start to change our spinal posture position. If you have low back pain and if you sit a lot, you don't have a back pain problem. You have a chest problem. Your chest muscles are too tight. And when we sit a lot, it causes us to hunch forward. Our cervical spine and our lumbar spine have to work together in order to stabilize our vital areas of survival. Our heart rate, respiration, and our brain are all happening right here. If this does not work, you're not watching me next time. Okay? As soon as this starts to shift and there's a lot of nerves and things being stretched and compressed because things are gluing to protect you, then this down here has to shift automatically because it is all an interconnected channel of stuff working together. So if you're sitting a lot and you're seeing this red triangle, that is that big back muscle causing you a lot of pain. Sitting is the number one cause of sciatica. It is the number one cause of low back pain. It is the number one cause of neck pain. Okay? When you sit a lot and when you don't move enough, the body does not metabolize. What is metabolism? It is our body fluctuating energy through our body, through our central nervous system. So your resting metabolism, just by getting on one of those machines, goes up, even when you're sleeping. Guess what happens when you sleep? You actually heal. Your body releases fat because if you don't need it in order to survive, the body says, bye bye. We have too much of you. We don't need you anymore. The muscles are happy. Everything's feeling good. You're not mentally stressed. The body is thriving. You do not lose fat when you're awake. You lose it when you sleep. So if you are in this position and you're not oxygenating your brain because you get 30% less oxygen in your body when you sit in this posture all day, don't do that. Open up. All you got to do is get on the machine, stand, and open up your heart and open up your chest and reach. And even if it hurts a little bit when you get started, it's better than looking like this forever. Okay? It's better than dying slowly because when the fluid is not moving through your body, it is gluing. Fluid is lotion. Lotion is motion. Movement is medicine. So many of you might not be able to move though because you've got some kind of a medical condition that holds you back. So if you can't move, we have to find something to move you. Not a human, not somebody else like applying it to you. You just need to get on a machine. The vibration platform causes things to happen without the brain providing the signal. So that is amazing. That's why I call it the miracle machine because it fixed me. You see, what happened with me when they remove your uterus from your body, ladies, your vagus nerve ends in the uterus, which actually originates all the way up here. And it happens to control every single system in the human body. The vagus nerve does. It is the light switch between recovery and go, go, go. So if you piss that nerve off, you're done. Like you got problems. Okay. I didn't know that until it happened. And that's how I learned about this. So if the nerve ends down here and it has all the energy and all the commands to the brain to provide feedback, if that happens and this is not firing, things don't work. And guess what has to work more? Your hip and your back. And if it's working and it's not supposed to be working because this is the most explosive area in the human body, then you are working so much harder and the body can't keep up. Okay? So if you can't move, get on the machine. It is, if you're a dead car battery, the machine is your jumper cables. Get on, turn it on, and let it jumpstart your engine because that's going to give you the opportunity to feel a little bit better. And a little bit better is well worth more than feeling the same or feeling worse, right? And if it just takes 2 or 3 minutes to get started, doesn't matter what setting you have, just get on it, push the button, and go. Okay? Now, drugs, surgery, stress, too much movement in the same direction, not enough movement, and hydration, my friends, because this connective tissue system, the fascia, is 70% water. 70% water is what makes up that tissue. In the brain, it's 85 to 90% water. So if you're dehydrated, you're not going to feel good. You're going to feel like crap. So hydrate, 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 okay? But here's the problem. If you're filling your body up with water or electrolytes or whatever kind of hydration, IV solutions, whatever it is that you're putting in your body, if it is having to travel through this, it's not going to go very far. It is not going to freely flow like it's supposed to. So shaking things up a little bit allows the water to flow through the sponge in areas that it hasn't been able to free flow through in a long time because of this stuff being like gunky, right? So the idea is to use the vibration platform to transform this glued, nasty, like stuck tissue into squishy, happy, hydrated tissue that's like jello. But the less we move, the more stress we have, the more toxicity we put in our system, like the more emotional energy we have that causes more inflammatory hormones, the more this starts to trap and not shift. Okay. So we need to make sure that we are going from sticky honey peanut butter glue to jello. And the machine does that. Okay. At what level do you need to use the machine? That is the magic question that everybody wants to know. And I'm not going to give you that answer because it is so different for every human, for every problem, for every machine. And you guys are not qualified to like calculate that algorithm or that mathematical equation. What I can tell you though, is if you are wanting to lose weight, you got to break free the junk in the trunk. You got to break free the fat molecules so you can use the energy in the fat molecules instead of breaking down the muscle. That requires a high intensity of vibration. So get on whatever machine you have, turn the energy up, and go for a fun ride. If you're not having fun when you're on your machine, you are defeating the purpose of the machine. Okay. You need to have fun when you're on the machine, whether it's jamming and dancing, whether it's watching a show, whether it's listening to music, whatever. Maybe you're sitting watching me in your den. Whatever you're doing, though, you need to make sure that you're having fun and it's not painful. Okay. If you're feeling nauseous, guess what? It's because these things are starting to work again. The machine is not hurting you, it is moving crap out of your system and causing muscles in your abdominals to work that have not worked in God knows how long. So get moving. Okay. When it comes to brain waves, we have to have lots of energy in order to be hyperstimulated and happy. But when we have too much energy, we become more inflammatory. So we do have to have a resting state. That's where the body heals itself. However, if you're in that resting state too long, that's what leads to depression. So if you're going through depression, get on the machine, turn it on, go for a high level of ride, experience the energy. If you are using it at the end of your day and you're like bouncing off the walls, or you've had a very stressful day, get on the machine, turn it on to a low level setting so it can downgrade you. So you can use it first thing in the morning to jumpstart the day. You can use it at the end of the day to bring the energy down. You can use it in the middle of the day sitting at your desk in order to keep stuff flowing. You can use it after a sporting event, between matches, in order to flush out cortisol and lactic acid and all the nasty byproduct toxins that cause your body to hurt. Okay. There are so many great things you can do. Why does it matter for osteoporosis? Well, our muscles do not attach directly to the bone, but the tendon is what attaches a muscle to a bone. When your muscles are spasming and those fibers are going bonkers with the perfect storm, it causes a vibration on the bone, which stimulates the bone to regenerate and make use of itself. When we don't move enough, or we don't make enough contact with the ground, which actually vibrates, by the way, then the bone stops regenerating itself. It becomes stagnant. So in order to juice it up, spice it up, and bring some energy into your bones, we have to create that through the muscles that are attaching to it, because bone does not have contractile ability. Okay. Does it lengthen? Yes. When the bones are soft, it does lengthen when we are children. But as we are adults, it starts to shrink, become more brittle because it stops working. So in order to get it to work again, the muscles have to be working. And as we get older, we don't exercise as much. As we get older, inflammatory hormones go up, body can't restore itself, so we become more like glue, and we become more active with our family, and our family become our time, or our friends become our time, or our job becomes our time. And so we don't make time for exercise. Just get on it 10 minutes a day. It's not the same caloric expenditure as going for a 30-minute jog or a walk, but it doesn't matter. It is stimulating the same response. So forget the calories. It has nothing to do with calories. Now, because we've been on here for a little while, I'm going to go through very fast the top 10 benefits of using the vibration platform. And then if there are other things that I can share with you in the near future of things you want to know, then I'm happy to share that with you. But the most important reason for using this episode back to basics and how the body works to restore itself goes back to just get on the machine and push the button and go. Don't outthink it. Just get on and keep it simple. So Weight loss. You saw my before and after pictures. I started out over 200 pounds. I haven't weighed 140 pounds in 20 years. And I did it just on that. I do not exercise on a regular basis. I gave up cardio. I do a little bit of cardio, but not much because it's inflammatory. It causes me more autoimmune problems. That machine keeps me happy and healthy, skin and hair, nails, everything happy because that causes everything to thrive. Vibe to thrive. Movement is movement. Motion is lotion. And remember, movement is what is medicine. So we increase muscle strength. We improve balance because we now have a strong infrastructure. Because when we cause those muscles to spasm, guess what happens? They grow. That's what causes hypertrophy. They grow when they actually fire. But we have to be willing to move in order to do that. If you don't want to move because you're tired, get on the machine, it moves for you. So you happen to grow muscle by doing that. It improves your flexibility or your ability to remold yourself. Okay. The body has the ability to mold itself. It increases metabolism when you're on it and when you're sleeping at night. Increasing resting metabolism improves overall how our body thrives and repairs itself. Decreases cellulite, okay? Decreases cellulite or those patchy scar tissue areas. Wherever you have scar tissue or patchy pockets of cellulite, it goes to repair and restore that. Why? Because you're no longer like the tattered yarn. Now you're actually more like that springy. We improve our overall mobility. We don't feel as tense, right? We improve our coordination. We improve hormonal balance. We improve osteoporosis levels. Even if your osteoporosis scores change on your DEXA scan by 2%, that is massive change. So if you are getting before and after and you're like, oh, it's only 2% difference, that is huge, friends. That is huge because it's not getting worse and it's not staying the same. So if it takes you a year to change by 2%, that is a win. Hello. It massages your muscles, okay? It's a natural massage for your muscles. It gets them moving. It's a lymphatic pump. It's using those muscles to pump gunk into the lymphatic system so you can eliminate it. So if you've got lymphedema goes down by being on the machine, whether you're using it low level or high level. You just have to figure out what works for you. Remember that. And then remember, just an overall well-being, because when we're not feeling good, we are unhappy, we're depressed, life sucks, right? Get on it, get those happy hormones up, kick those bad hormones down, and just feel good. Because if you feel just a little bit better when you get off of it, isn't that better than where you started? And just celebrate the little things along the way, because all the little things add up to the big bang. And I didn't lose 60 pounds on that machine by doing it 2 or 3 months or 4 months. It's taken me 4 years, at least 4 years of working with LifePro. I started on that machine in 2018, 2019. I got on it a lot in 2020. And now that I'm very happy with where I'm at, I'm not on it as much as I used to be doing my workouts. But when I start to feel like I need to spruce up, I get back on it and go. Okay. So what you need for your prescription of how much you need to use it is totally up to you as to how you feel. If you're not used to getting on it and you get on it and you feel sore the next day, your body is transforming and changing. Continue to work it out. And if you need help with us at LifePro to kind of guide you along the way, that's what we're here for. So that being said, we are about an hour in now. And so I want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to me, because everybody likes to see action. But if you don't understand why action is important and why the vibration platforms work the way that they do, you're not going to take it out of the box when it shows up on your front doorstep, and you're not going to plug it in, and you're not going to wipe the dust off of it, and you're going to prioritize having that glass of wine at night or getting into the sauna or doing other things that you probably shouldn't be doing because it just doesn't seem like it makes a difference. It all matters. So celebrate the small steps. Get on it every day, even if it's just 10 minutes a day, 3 minutes a day. Anything is better than nothing. And if we can help you at LifePro, let us know, because I love the fact that I went through my hysterectomy at the age of 40 in order to be able to teach you at 45 how I am living my best life. And without LifePro, I would not be living my best life, feeling 20 years younger now, weighing 140 pounds, wearing a size smaller than I did when I got married, just by using that. So have a wonderful day. And remember, fill yourself up before you give it all away to everybody else. Because when your cup overflows, you have more to give to others and don't have to worry about restoring yourself. Have a great day.